1919 was an auspicious year in history. The First World War ended, ushering a drastic change in the world order. The Philippine Islands had been a U.S. territory for 2 decades and was promised independence under the Jones Law of 1916. Progressive reformers saw the country and its people as a major target for modernization, and education was its main weapon. 7 forward-looking Filipinas came together in 1919 to create a school where young women could gain the knowledge and skills that would make them modern women. Paz Marquez Benitez was the first president of the Philippine Women's College. Jose Abad Santos was its first chairman of the Board of Trustees. Francisca Tirona Benitez was the second president, and with her husband Dean Conrado, guided the school from a house on A. Flores Street to its iconic Taft Avenue campus. In 1932, the college became a university, making PWU the first university for women in Asia founded by Asians. It provided a space where innovations in education flourished, and young people were encouraged to be the best that they could be. For over 100 years, the Philippine Women's University has been known as a leader in quality education. In 1934, PWU moved into its main campus on Taft Avenue, and since the 1970s has been co-educational. Located in the heart of Metro Manila, it is easily accessible by public transport and surrounded by affordable housing. Today's PWU offers undergraduate and graduate courses in several fields of study. Its business and management programs are responsive to the needs of industry, using evolving technology for global competence. PWU graduates excel in arts and sciences, education, social work, and diplomacy. Its fine arts and music programs have produced outstanding graduates through a holistic education that treasures heritage as well as excellence. PWU has pioneered in fields such as food science, nutrition and dietetics, medical technology, pharmacy, and nursing. PWU continues to play an essential role in producing graduates who possess the skills that make them competitive in the country and anywhere in the world.
Good morning to everyone. In a few minutes, the webinar will be starting. Good morning, participants. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all start this webinar by a prayer to be followed by singing of national anthem and singing of PWU hymn.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great.
Good morning, participants. It is an honor to present to you a very important person to grace us with this inspirational message. Let us all welcome Philippine Women's University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo Benitez. Let us all give him a warm round of virtual applause.
To the members of the PW School of Hospitality Management, led by Dean Prime Abellana, the organizers of this event from the MS Culinary Arts program, our distinguished speakers and industry professionals from here and abroad, dear students and guests watching on our social media pages, good morning. I'm pleasantly surprised that our webinars for the past 2 days, yesterday's Food Science and Technology Day webinar, as well as today's event, both revolve around the plant-based food revolution. Yesterday, our undergraduate researchers demonstrated how plant-based foods need not be complicated, expensive, nor inaccessible, but rather through examples such as the local sweet potato, ube, and lagundi plant, they showed how these are not only healthy, but also affordable and easy to prepare. Today, we delve into the gastronomic possibilities for plant-based food in the new normal, in particular in the home setting, which is where most of us find ourselves in due to the various levels of community quarantine. In layman's terms, we will be hearing about new ways to maximize and prepare locally produced plant-based foods at home, the advantages of converting the usual meat options into their healthier plant-based alternatives, and even learn new plant-based food recipes that are simple and easy to prepare at home. It's been well documented that a whole food, plant-based diet, or a diet that focuses on only or mostly on processed foods from plant sources is one of the healthiest diets that a person can follow. Not only does it allow for better weight management by helping a person maintain a lower body mass index, it also lowers a person's risk of heart disease, obesity, certain types of cancer, diabetes, stroke, and other conditions, which in most cases have been the leading causes of mortality worldwide. Apart from its personal health benefits, a plant-based diet has been found to be the most environmentally sustainable, whereas diets rich in meat and poultry have significant environmental impact, being one of the major contributors of climate change. As a stark example, meat and dairy products contribute just 18% of the world's calorie supply and just 37% of global protein supply. Yet, half of all the habitable land on the planet is used for agriculture. And of this agricultural land, 77% is used for livestock or animal agriculture. Ezra Klein, a New York Times columnist, in an interview with Fareed Zakaria on CNN, said in relation to this, what is happening is that we are cutting down trees and forests, our planet's primary means of sequestering carbon, and replacing them with cows, which produce tons of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, thus speeding up global warming. In the same interview, they mentioned that the single most important thing that we can do to contribute to slowing down climate change is not to turn vegan or vegetarian, because it's not for everyone. And I'm saying that from personal experience. So rather than doubling the number of vegans or vegetarians, we would have a more profound impact if all of us meat eaters just cut our meat consumption by half, or even by 30%, and replace that with plant-based food alternatives. And that is exactly what we are here to learn more about today. So once again, congratulations to our School of Hospitality Management, particularly the MS Culinary Arts program, for organizing today's webinar. Thank you to all of our speakers and participants, and I look forward to a very informative and insightful session. Good morning.
Thank you very much for that very inspirational message, Mr. Benitez. Good morning to everyone. As of now, we have a total of 606 registered participants, and this invitation actually reached 12,699. Wow. So to our online viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. You can share and spread this ongoing webinar here social media platforms. So I am Miss Jemima David, and I'm a graduate student taking up Masters of Science in Culinary Arts at Philippine Women's University, and I will be your facilitator for today's virtual seminar. To officially welcome us in today's webinar, may I call on my partner for today, another graduate student taking up Masters of Science in Culinary Arts as well at Philippine Women's University, Mr. Ken John Abalo, to discuss our webinar netiquette.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jam. Okay. Before we begin, I would like to share some webinar netiquette and state the objectives of today's virtual seminar. So the following netiquette should be observed in attending this webinar. Number one, we encourage all the attendees to please mute your microphone when not speaking in order to minimize the background noise. Number two, we highly encourage everyone to be in your most comfortable dress in order to be focused on the webinar. Three, we highly suggest all our participants to have a pen and a notepad at hand in taking down notes for your future reference while attentively listening to our guest speakers. Number four, if you have a question or clarification during the presentation or demonstrations, you may want to type in the chat box or comment section. The program host the program host will be bringing them up during the question and answer portion towards the end of the webinar. Your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions are highly significant to the organizers. Please do fill out the evaluation form. This will be posted before the end of the webinar. Number six, every participant who has successfully registered will be receiving their 2 e-certificates via email. So this webinar aims the following objectives. First is to promote and maximize the use of local crops as food ingredients in a variety of plant-based meals. Second is to introduce the health advantage of converting from meat-based meals to plant-based meals. Third is to teach different ways in preparing plant-based recipes and to share some of the current trends in the culinary arts and hospitality industry at this time of pandemic. So enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Sir Ken. To the University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo M. Benitez, Graduate School Director, Dr. Emerita Zornosa, Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Dr. Ephraimuel Jose L, Abellana, Dr. Angelina U. Blanco, resource speakers, guests, participants, viewers, classmates, once again, good morning. I am glad that all of you were able to join us in our virtual seminar entitled Expanding Gastronomic Possibilities with Plant-Based Meals.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jam. I am proud to tell everyone that this webinar is brought to you by the graduate school students taking up Master of Science in Culinary Arts, headed by our masipag na classmate, Chef Nikki Wilford Ellarma, with the guidance of our professor in Advanced Culinary Arts, Dr. Angelina U. Blanco, Philippine Women's University. I would like to welcome all the schools from all the regions of the Philippines and to more than 600 registered participants and 12,000 plus people who have seen our Facebook ads. Stay with us as we unwrap the nutritious world of plant-based meals and edible flowers. With that being said, I am welcoming you all and wishing a fruitful day and a vegetable-licious webinar. Thank you and have a good morning.
Indeed, stay with us. Sir Ken. Later on, Sir Ken will be joining me as my co-host. To give us his welcome message, let us all welcome Dr. Ephraimuel Jose L, Abellana, Cluster Dean, School of Management, University.
Thank you, Jemima. To our University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo M. Benitez, to our University Chancellor and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Angelina U, to my fellow deans and program chairs, to Professor Dr. Angela Blanco, and all other professors at the graduate school, all graduate students, guests, good morning. I welcome you all to this webinar of our Master of Science in Culinary Arts students. I call them Magnificent Eight. They're very, very competent in their field. They're very passionate as culinary chefs in all their companies. Let us enjoy this morning. We have so much speakers. We have so much learning today about diet, about food, about plant, vegetables, etc., etc. So we will be welcoming you all and stay safe always. And welcome to our webinar. Good morning, mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ephraimuel Ellarma. Again, let me recognize and appreciate our viewers. As of now, we have a total of more than 200 Facebook Live viewers. Yes, make sure to hit the like and share button. I know all of you are excited and eager to know more about today's topic. To begin our webinar, it's my honor to introduce to you a passionate vegan and animal rights advocate. Her activism starts on the plate by transforming traditional food into vegan versions, proving that there is so much power found in plants. Angel is of mixed Filipino heritage and brings with her a culinary repertoire of Asian cuisine specializing in Filipino, Southeast Asian, and Japanese cooking techniques. Angel's achievements include bagging the 2019 Grand Prize for New Zealand's EPAC's vegan cooking competition with her award-winning dish called Ginataang Kalabasa dish. A recognition from the Philippine government through the Philippine Embassy in New Zealand for her outstanding contribution to championing the overseas Filipino culture through her work at Luntian, and awarded as Filipino Chef of the Year 2020-2021. She has been featured in several media both in New Zealand and overseas, with news coverage from ABS-CBN's The Filipino Channel Asia Pacific, news coverage from local community papers in Auckland, New Zealand, social features in Australia, features in articles in USA online publications, and magazine features, the latest of which is making to the front cover and main story of the NCAV's cruelty-free magazine. Her background is mainly in sales and marketing, having held senior positions for global corporations in her resume, but has decided to follow her passion and heart in creating delicious plant-based Filipino fare. She is currently the founder and chief creative of Luntian, a revolutionary project veganizing Filipino cuisine in Australia and New Zealand since 2018, and co-founder of Liquid Foods, a plant-based food manufacturing company, producing plant-based meat alternatives from Auckland, New Zealand. Angel also manages and owns several other ventures in the hospitality and the construction industry, of which she is also managing director and CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give her a warm welcome, Miss Angel Apun.
Hi! Kia ora and magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. First off, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the awesome team at the School of Hospitality and Management at the PWU for enabling us all to have this amazing platform to connect with you at this very moment. So if you're watching, please give them a thumbs up and hearts. So thank you first again for giving me this opportunity today to address you all as we talk about the wonders of expanding gastronomic possibilities with plant-based meals. So as we know, the plant-based movement is growing, and there is definitely an opportunity that we can explore in this area. So all we need to do is to pretty much keep an open mind and learn some culinary concepts that we were trained in and think creatively so we can shatter the stereotypes in Filipino cuisine with the power of plants. So if you ask me, among all the other cuisines in the world, why Filipino cuisine? Well, as you might know, you might have seen it, might have sensed it, might have read about it, but might have heard about it as well. But there is definitely a rise in global interest for Filipino cuisine. So it was even more amplified when Western celebrity chefs, like, you know, the one pictured here, the late Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul, have been, you know, harping about the gastronomic discoveries about our own cuisine. We all know as Filipinos what Filipino food is. It's, that sinigang, that adobo, that kare-kare, that pancit, or yung walang kamatayang lumpiang Shanghai in parties. But what makes it really unique is its profile, which is thought of as the original fusion cuisine. In the next slide, we will see that, a melting pot of influences has actually generated a unique flavor character for our own gastronomic culture. So, I've been here in New Zealand since 2012, and whenever I would have non-Filipinos asking me, what is Filipino food? I honestly can't describe it with just one dish. It's definitely not just adobo. And as we know, we have maybe 100,000 versions of adobo out there in our 7,100 islands. But all I can say is that Filipino food for me is home. So all I know is that whenever I would let them taste Filipino food, they would always be stunned with the complexity yet simplicity of flavors in every mouthful. So with that, saying that, Filipino cuisine is definitely a gastronomic delight in its own, with so much opportunities for further enhancement and fine-tuning. And, as mentioned, as you would see in the next slide, that, Filipino food is a rising star in the foodie world and is often dubbed as the, again, original fusion cuisine. You might know this, you might not. If you're a true foodie, you can actually definitely see the patterns in there. But the key theme in here for Filipino cuisine is that it draws its flavor profile from various inspirations of primarily Spanish, Latino, Chinese, Indian, Malaysian, Pacific, and even like American cultures. And I think, it's our really very unique position in Southeast Asia, our unique culture, our unique history as well. And that melting pot of influences has actually generated a unique flavor character for our own beloved Filipino cuisine. And as we know, most Filipino dishes revolve on the use of animal meat, such as pork. Who doesn't love lechon, right? Chicken, beef, goat meat, and like seafood and the rest. So, if you're going to look at it in an unbiased lens, there are actually a lot of factors as to why Filipino cuisine revolves mostly on the use of animal products in its dishes. Things like tradition, sociological conditions that were tempered over time, the need for survival, etc., have definitely helped cement the dependence of our cuisine in animals. However, with the changing times, we also need to acknowledge that as a culture, we need to keep up and constantly evolve. Modern studies suggest that reliance on animal farming and its products are not only detrimental to our health, but also to the environment and to the society. So the next slide is all about talking about championing the earth and the role of plants and all the other different issues that we face right now as a civilization. And did you know that the global food security is under threat as biodiversity dramatically declines? Even as commercial offerings become more diverse in many countries, what people buy and eat is becoming more homogenized. So today, 75% of humanity's food is generated from only 12 plants and 5 animal species. Only 150 to 200 or 4% of the known 250 to 300,000 known edible plant species in our planet are actually used by humans. This, of course, poses a problem as the reliance of the global food production system on a limited number of genetically uniform, high-yielding varieties of plants and animals is problematic for both the conservation of biodiversity and for human health. So with the loss of diverse sources for food, together with our food security, humanity becomes less resilient and less able to cope with change, including climate change. And with this, human health also suffers. The loss of diverse diets is directly linked to malnutrition and non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, obesity, heart diseases, and has a direct impact on the availability of health foods and traditional medicines. All of these has actually been discussed in May 2019 at the United Nations Convention to celebrate the biodiversity and its role as the foundation of our health and food systems. So in saying so, there is actually so much opportunity for us to utilize our knowledge and mobilize our resources to champion the earth by harnessing the role of plants in addressing the key issues that plague humanity. Again, these are food security, increasing health risks, not only of non-communicable diseases like heart disease, diabetes and obesity and the like, but as we know, like the recent pandemic that everyone is facing at the moment can actually be attributed to the consumption of animals, climate change, and then social issues such as poverty, modern slavery, racism, to name a few. So I am actually putting this within a context of a food activist who has worked at the grassroots level, campaigning for sustainability in the food production system. As learners and proponents of gastronomy, our work should just not stop at the preparation of enjoyment of food. We are actually the advocates and the bridge between cultures and the survival of humanity through food education. We are talking about diversity, not only of our own ecosystems, but the role of promoting diversity in our cultures from an anthroposocial perspective and how this can help ascertain the survival of not only of our species, but of the planet. So when I say about breaking the glass, I think this is where Filipino cuisine steps in the picture to drive diversity, not only to promote our own culture, but again, to also ensure sustainability in the long run. As pointed out earlier, Filipino cuisine is heavily dependent on animal products due to influential factors, but that does not mean that we just have to accept tradition and not challenge the status quo, especially if there is a better way of preparing food and eating it. The first step is all about changing our mindsets and concepts about Filipino food. What we know of Filipino food in general versus what really is Filipino food, and the relationship of Filipino communities in each pockets of society towards our food and how it is sourced and then produced. So primarily, we would default to animals as this is the way it has always been. But have we thought about Filipino dishes that are intrinsically plant-based and how these certain dishes also are representative of Filipino dishes and of tastes and culture as a whole? So, for example, dishes such as the gintaang bilo-bilo, adobong kangkong, ensalada, and all of those other simple plant-based dishes are no less than the lechon and pork sisig we identify as markers of our cuisine. So I think the key takeaway for this is there is definitely a gap within this mindset. And the challenge is to see beyond what is accepted and start thinking creatively to work within the taste profile of Filipino cuisine and take that step of substituting plants for traditional meat dishes. Now, the ultimate goal is to use Filipino cuisine as a platform to shatter stereotypes and cultures dominated by tradition that can be revised and be evolutionary. We need to show that through Filipino food, we can start building a nation that is sustainable by anchoring on a kind and compassionate global cuisine. This is not only, of course, through the promotion of cultures through a dish, but as within the principles of gastronomy, we are to educate about the relationship of food and cultures. So as a food activist, I stand by the famous philosophy of eating is a political act. How we eat impacts not only our bodies, but the communities and the lives around us. So veganizing Filipino cuisine not only offers better health and longevity for those who seek to enjoy it, but it will have a positive impact towards other species in this planet and eventually improve the lives of future Filipino generations. sounds too radical. It is actually not. Anyone can be a food activist. When you have that realization that you can make a difference just by how you eat, you have already taken the first step. The next step is understanding where our food is coming from, how the food production system can oppress or uplift a nation, and what you can do with your pesos or your dollars to support industries that champion workers' rights and ending exploitation against animals and humans alike. The final step will be to take to the kitchen and start working with the power of plants to finally get the ball rolling and break that glass. So I just wanted to share with you my story as to how I did it, and with that mindset changing about the perceptions of Filipino cuisine and as a vegan Filipino in this side of the world. So I came up with my concept of my venture, Luntian. As we know, Luntian in Filipino language means green. This was actually an answer to my own need and closing that gap in the market for rising need of Filipino flavors in this part of the world that is actually made from plants. So I would think that, to be honest, I'm quite privileged that I'm here in New Zealand, and New Zealand is one of the top 5 countries in the world with a growing vegan population. But then also there is this opportunity to offer something unique and novel. And this came up when I myself needed that connection back home to my home culture and to my food. So I started veganizing Filipino food initially as a personal passion project. But eventually, the more I delved into it, the more I realized that this is not just a passion project anymore, but this can actually be something bigger. So I realized that this is not just all about cooking Filipino food anymore. It's all about raising awareness about issues that surround not only of the Philippines, but of the underprivileged across the globe. I then fine-tuned the operations to reflect not only Filipino food, but the underpinning values of standing up against speciesism and educating my audience. So my audience are actually like mostly non-Filipinos and third-generation Filipinos in Australia and New Zealand. So I have been starting to raise awareness so that we can still enjoy, the traditional tastes and textures of food that we all love without the systemic oppression and cruelty that go with it. So in the next slide, it's just like a story about, the part of veganizing Filipino food. One thing I learned is to always work with what is local. So local produce that are in season are actually your best friends. Not only are these less expensive, but they're also healthier, and you help sustain local economies. Now, maybe your question is it hard to veganize Filipino cuisine? Yes and no. Yes, if you are familiar with the flavor profile of that cuisine in general, and you're not confident and are not confident in the knowledge that you have about what is and is not plant-based. No, if you are committed to learning and unleashing your creativity and always finding new ways to use plants instead of traditional animal products. So veganizing Filipino cuisine starts with understanding the base texture and flavor in a certain dish and matching this base flavor profile with what is inherently plant-based. So in the next slide, I'm going to walk you through my whole thought process around this and how I execute it actually in the kitchen. So in that slide, it's all about thinking outside of the ordinary. So you also have to realize that texture plays a huge part in a successful veganization, if there is such a term. This can be achieved by, of course, using a plant-based meat substitute for your protein component, and then reconstituting the sauces and other dish components without the usual suspects of like fish sauce, bagoong, stock, and etc. It also helps to group flavor profiles together of the traditional animal-based dish according to their base aromatic compounds, and finding a plant-based substitute to recreate the same flavor profile. So, we all know the basics. If you are a a gastronomy student, if you are an HRM student, if you're just like pretty much, a foodie in the kitchen, or have just like some studies around culinary, the basics is pretty much like the sensory attributes of foods mainly come down to taste, aroma, and flavor. Flavor is a combination of taste and smell and any chemical irritation to the senses. So all animal-based and plant-based products share the same aromatic chemical compounds. Now, it is just a matter of understanding how you would group them together. So if you see the photo in there, in that slide, that is my vegan version of the classic ginataang kalabasa, without, of course, the usual use of animal products in it, like how it would have been. So I don't know how you would cook like ginataang kalabasa. What I remember in my younger days is that, traditionally it would have bagoong, it would have like some prawns in it, or like even some crab in it, seafood, fish, fish, smoked fish, pork. But in this particular vegan dish, of how I veganized it, I played with the textural components in here to goad the senses while retaining the original flavor profile of the traditional dish. So what I did instead is that I highlighted the pumpkin as the hero of the dish and complemented it with the blistered green beans, which is like pretty much sitaw, but to be honest, like sitaw is hard to come by here, and blanched bok choy or pechay to offset the soft textures. The sauce is still like coconut, it's still coconut based, it's coconut cream, and I reduced and seasoned it with kelp. Why I used kelp, it's plant-based. Again, the aromatic profile is very much similar to shrimp. And this is again to mimic the flavor profile of what would be bagoong or like alamang. And at the end of the day, they are within the same family. I also used like powdered porcini, which is like mushrooms, to mimic the porcine, which is like the porky elemental flavor of what would have been, again, pork. Again, pork and mushrooms, the aromatic base flavors and compounds are within the same family. So since it is a very rich dish, there is a lot of creaminess coming from the pumpkin, which are roasted prior to lend that Maillard effect. And from the coconut cream, it helps balance this out. So I added some fresh pea sprouts and ribbons of crisp camote in that. I garnish it with chilies in a tiny heart's ease to uplift the pea sprouts in there with its vegetal and wintergreen profile. Now, I'm just proud to say that the same dish is the dish that won me the 2019 Grand Prize for New Zealand Cooking Competition. This only goes to show that with proper planning and understanding of plant-based ingredients, veganizing Filipino food is very feasible. So when we veganize Filipino cuisine, or any other cuisine for that matter, it is important to understand these three things. Number one, the context of why you are veganizing this particular cuisine. Number two, the culture and the traditions that drive the identity of that dish or that cuisine. And the last one, the components of that dish, whether these are general, indigenous, or endemic. Remember, that to shatter stereotypes in veganizing traditional cuisines, like Filipino cuisine, you should not lose the identity of that culture. The identity of a dish does not, and I repeat, it does not just only rely on the ingredients used, but on the basic flavor profile. This is what you would call the soul of your dish. You lose it and you stray off from the base, you dilute it, and you won't have the soul, and it won't be the same anymore. So for me, personally, like working within like the guidelines of gastronomy, veganizing Filipino cuisine was my platform for my food activism to raise and campaign awareness for ethical and healthy eating, advocating for sustainability and renewability, and finally, championing Filipino culture by introducing kinder and compassionate versions of it. In case you're wondering, that photo over there, yep, That's fried chicken, but that's not a real chicken. That is actually an artisan batch that was handmade by yours truly, and showcasing that only our imagination and excuses are the limits, with more than 300,000 possibilities with plant-based food. I guess I would like to end this presentation with an excerpt from a well-known revolutionist and change maker and fellow vegan. And this, this saying might be very familiar to you. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pigs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. And that's from Steve Jobs. So when I went vegan 4 years ago, my friends and family thought I was crazy. And by the way, my mom is watching right now. Yes, mom. Yep, you told me I was crazy, but crazy enough to be a vegan and a Filipino in a very white-centric society. There were struggles, I'm not gonna lie, but the beauty of the whole journey for me, though, is the opportunity for me to delve into the possibilities of challenging stereotypes about being a vegan Filipino and proving that I can thrive in a vegan lifestyle without letting go of my own identity. I don't know who's watching right now, but why you chose to take up what you're taking up right now in school or in your studies. Maybe you love cooking. Maybe you saw it as a good, revenue generating opportunity in the modern world. Maybe you followed a different path but ended up here, or maybe not. But whatever that maybe is, all I see here today are fellow food activists who also want to change the world at some stage through the most basic of all human needs, nutrition and nourishment. So wherever you are in your journey and in your course in life, I hope you will see the value of what you do and how you have the power to initiate change through diversity in our own culture in a world where it sometimes can be harsh and homogeneous. So don't forget to put gratitude in all your efforts, because food is better enjoyed when it is given and received in thanks. So in saying this, kia ora and maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much for that craziness, Miss Angel. Indeed, it is crazy, but mind you, it's unique, in demand, and nutritious as well. So a total alternative to meat-based products. So yeah, at this juncture, let me, please help me in awarding the certificate of recognition to our speaker. Let me read the citation. Philippine Women's University School of Hospitality Management proudly present this certificate of recognition to Ms. Angel Appon for sharing her time and expertise as the resource speaker for the webinar entitled Expanding Gastronomic Possibilities with Plant-Based Meals, given this 19th day of June 2021 at Philippine Women's University, Taft Avenue, Manila. Signed, Dr. Ephraimuel Jose L, Abellana, Dean, School of Hospitality Management, and Dr. Angelina U, Blanco, Professor, Graduate School, School of Hospitality Management. Once again, thank you so much for sharing us your crazy expertise, Miss Angel.
Thank you so much. I hope you learned something. And again, thumbs up and hearts to you, team, for putting this all together. Mabuhay and kia ora.
Thank you very much, Miss Angel, for that very wonderful presentation. Now, moving on to our second speaker to discuss plant-based meat alternatives, market trends and opportunities, and demonstrate how to make a protein-based meatless longanisa. She works as an event demo chef with a total of 15 years experience, including 5 years in various restaurants, cafe, and catering services, and 10 years in various colleges and universities. Let's give her a virtual applause, ladies and gentlemen, Chef Jean Cesara Similiani.
Good day everyone and mabuhay po tayong lahat. Thank you Miss Angel sa napakaganda po nating message to everyone. 20 to 20, 30 years ago, I never could had imagined that I will be the one who will share this good news po sa ating mga Filipino audience as well as sa abroad, about plant-based meat alternatives, market trends, and opportunities. Um, my question is how to get plant-based products in the Philippines into mainstream. As we hear in the social medias, most innovations taking place in Singapore, United States, United Kingdom, and other developed countries. Um, I ask myself, um, it means that our plant-based meat substitute here are not widely available. But as I remember the song that almost Filipino kids learn in school. So ito po yung Bahay Kubo. So this song provides the Filipino food identity, the widespread expansion of our local plants. And one of the line from this song nga po is yung ang halaman doon ay sari-sari. So different classifications of vegetables are mentioned from fruit vegetables, gourds, greens, root, tubers, pods, seeds, and even nga po yung stem. Maririnig natin dun sa song na Bahay Kubo. So it means that we are very blessed with different plant resources sa Philippines. Um, Now, since protein has always been a necessary nutritional building block for individual, proper awareness and education should consider to make our local crops can be used as an alternative protein products that are more accessible not only in the local market but of course in international consumers. Okay, so these products should be considered on trend, innovative, safe, and of course, nutritious. So the four aspects that our consumers are looking for. Next slide, please. Okay. So, here are the plant-based meat market by source na popular ngayon sa atin, even abroad, no? So, we have the soy, the lentils, chickpeas, beans, peanuts, quinoa, spirulina, and other plant-based sources po. So, the co-products, we have the crops and grains. So like yung ating wheat, rye, oats, millets, barley, and corn. And we have also here, dito sa ating picture, yung ating mga plant-based meat products available in the market. So, we have the burger patties, yung ating spam, veggie spam. We have also yung ating different sausages, plant-based sausages, and chicken nuggets, and even our very own plant-based lechon belly. So, popular na popular siya, lalo nung magpapasko, no? Daming nag-o-order niyan. Next slide, please. Okay. So, how, paano natin ulit mailalagay into mainstream the plant-based meat alternatives? Today's market are shaped by the key consumers. So the first is the changing in consumers' diet. So switching into more responsible consumption choices. So it start by awareness and education, and then continued by a behavior development. Medyo mahirap, pero disiplina ang una nating kailangan at dedikasyon. Next is protein wide range consumers appeal. So consumers' interest clustered around a few on-trends claim were more likely to look for less of. Consumers expecting food and beverages that meet increasingly nuanced attributes of health, ethics, and sustainability. Third is the nutrition in plant-based. So the main idea here is to make the plant-based as the central part of our meals. So it emphasizes foods like fruits, vegetables, yung ating mga beans and root crops. And that's why most people adopt this way of eating and do it for potential health benefits. And last but not the least is the increasing of active lifestyle. So consumers curiosity has fueled increased interest in plant-based protein. And many manufacturers responded dun sa demand ng ating consumer. High protein product are not just used by the consumers in conjunction with their activity or physical activity, no? But as an everyday product being driven by health-conscious consumers. And this shows the opportunity for nutrition products, not just for an athlete, but also at everyday consumers who are time scarce and seeking healthier alternatives to traditional product. Next slide, please. Okay, so how does change happen? First, of course, how we embrace the plant-based alternative movement, no? So, para ma-adapt natin. First is the food explorers and migrants. So, there is no doubt that our society is continually changing. The foods and beverages are great example of this change. Consumer's journey. Of course, it influences yung culture, geography, lifestyle, history, economics. At isa nga sa example nito, yung napapanahon nating adapting a plant-based diet. Followed by cultural food shifts and trends. Um, the food industry is seeing a large shift, no, due to consumer consciousness. As I mentioned a while ago, so nandito yung environmental concern against animal cruelty and sustainability at syempre, yung ating health. Third is the technology. So through technology, food manufacturers meeting the trend with the tastiest plant-based food with nutrition and value and of course innovation. So the food experts and the food manufacturers are experimenting to bring improved plant-based meals. Next is the food service initiation. So plant-based food play a growing role on food service menu. So the growth starts sa mga outlets like sa restaurants, cafe, and yung ating mga fast food chains. And next is the retail support. So popping up menus, no? And sa grocery store shelves. Like what Miss Apun, yung sinabi niya kanina, so the global pandemic has changed the way people interact with food by incorporating plant-based foods to have a strong immune system. And innovation for the mainstream. So plant-based foods need to gain credibility. No, mahalaga talaga kahit sa ang bagay yung kredibilidad para makuha natin yung tiwala ng merkado. And according to Eurometer International, plant-based market opportunity is not the one to be missed. Now, ano yung malaking challenge dito, no? Especially sa ating mga manufacturers. So yung ating tinatawag na sensory properties of plant-based meat products. No matter what is driving consumers to make their protein decision. Of course, the product must taste good, masarap, kalasa ng meat. And then we need to pay attention, of course, to the texture features in similar to animal proteins and discovering the right color and appearance profiles will help to set the product's innovations. Next slide, please. References po. Next slide. Okay, so I will show you a comparison. Ito po yung comparison natin. Please, next slide. Between plant-based meatless longganisa at yung ating traditional skinless longganisa. So makikita po natin dito yung ating weight in grams, yung ating usage cost. So in protein-based meatless longganisa, so ang ating weight in grams nung ating nagamit dun sa ating product is 500 and the cost per piece ay 3.03, no? So tayo na po yung pag-mark up dyan. While yung ating traditional skinless longganisa, so yung ating weight in grams 967, while yung ating usage cost 231.25 pesos. Siyempre sa ground pork pa lang natin medyo medyo mahal na, no? And yung yield naman niya ay 28 pieces. So to clarify po, ang casing din po siya and yung size niya ay the same lamang po. So the cost per piece is 8.9. Okay po. So now, to complete my plant-based alternative market trends, no? Ito na po yung ilan sa inaabangan natin. Yung ating present na pre-recorded 100% ng Spaniards meatless ganisa. Thank you and enjoy sa video and happy cooking.
Inspired by the Spaniards, longaniza is a Filipino sweet savory chorizo that become one of our favorite breakfast dishes around the country. usually made with pork and mixed with a lot of spices. And now, for a healthier version, I will share to you my meatless longanisa recipe. The process is very simple, so let's start. 10 grams avocado, 25 grams of beetroot, 15 grams sweet corn, 120 grams of dehydrated jackfruit, 20 grams of dehydrated seaweeds, 10 grams of vegetable bouillon cube, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of white pepper, 10 grams of garlic, 20 grams corn oil, 100 grams bread flour, 3 tablespoons of water, and 200 grams of brown sugar. Dehydrate first the jackfruit and seaweeds. In a food processor, mince the jackfruit, seaweed, and corn. For our dough, let's combine bread flour, beetroot, and 10 grams of corn oil. Mix it until become elastic. Next is combine the garlic, avocado, sugar, 10 grams of corn oil, vegetable bouillon, salt, and pepper. In a bowl, combine all the minced vegetables, dough, and the flavorings. Mix well until become red. For our casing, we are using cellulose, so it's made from wood pulp, so the casing are strong and sheer and permeable to smoke. And they are peeled off after cooking. Now let's assemble our longanisa. The advantage of using cellulose casing is the size uniformity. Now let's steam our meatless longanisa for 15 minutes. After cooling our meatless longanisa inside the refrigerator for an hour, steamed meatless longanisa is ready to fry. But remove first the cellulose casing before frying. Our finished product, the local version of meatless longanisa. Thank you. Happy cooking!
Wow, thank you so much for that sumptuous longanisa, Chef Jean. Um, don't forget ha, padalhan mo kami ng sample product mo in the future. All right, before that, if you have any questions and comments or clarification, please do type in the comment section in Facebook Live of PWU. Okay, and we will bring them up at the end of the program. Okay po? And also, please do evaluate us or do fill out the evaluation form before we end the webinar. Okay po? So, Miss Jean, Miss Jem?
We still have a long way to go, and yet we are bombarded already with a lot of knowledge and new information on plant-based products. Make sure to jot every important information down because surely you can use it as a reference sooner or later. To add more, let us now proceed to our third speaker. He is a culinary instructor with over 11 years of experience teaching in various culinary schools, universities, and colleges. Extensive expertise and experience in creating curriculum and programs in the field of culinary, nutrition, and hotel and restaurant management. An advocate of integrated organic farming, he also provides free training and seminars for local farmers and an owner of Star Farm Organics in Talabataan. A chef himself, let us give the floor to Chef Jerry Cochua to present complementary protein, how to get complete protein from plants. Let us all give him a virtual applause.
Thank you, Miss Jem. Can we get the slide, please? Okay, good morning, everyone. I think my slide is up. So as the buzz about plant-based diet continues to grow, so more people are getting interested in consuming more fruits, more vegetables, with the reduction to zero meat intake. So the question is, where do they get their protein? And do they get enough protein in their diet? Next slide, please. So here are some protein for plant-based diet. So number one, you have soy and other soy products. You have tofu, you have tempeh, edamame. Number two is your legumes or legumes. You have lentils, you have beans, you have pulses. And for your grains, you have oats, you have whole wheat flour, you have spelt, and of course, our favorite, rice. For the fourth one, you have your nuts and seeds. Okay, so you have your almonds, you have cashew, chia seeds, and syempre yung quinoa. Okay, for your fruits and vegetables, you have your corn, you have your potatoes, broccoli, asparagus, potato, guava, and jackfruit. Okay, so next slide, please. Now, protein is found in food from both animal and plant sources. It is made up of smaller units called the amino acids. So there are 20 different amino acids that can be combined to make every protein inside our body. So out of the 20, you have 9. So these 9 are considered essentials, meaning we need to obtain this from food, okay, since our body cannot produce them. So 11 are non-essentials, which can be synthesized for another amino acids inside our body. Now, all the 20 amino acids have different chemical structures. So they are used in the formation of different neurotransmitters, formation of hormones, enzymes. But the main role or the primary role of your amino acid is to build your proteins. Okay, so 4 are considered limiting or they're lacking. So you have lysine, methionine, threonine, and tryptophan. Okay, so these amino acids are present in food, but of a lower quantity. Okay, in reference to other food protein. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so for this chart, you have grains, which has low levels of lysine and threonine. The complementary pairing for these grains are your legumes, okay, or your nuts and seeds, which has an ample amount of lysine and threonine. Next is your legumes. They have low levels of methionine, and the complementary protein or the complementary pairing is grains, which has enough methionine. Okay. The next is your nuts and seeds, which has low lysine, and the complementary pairing is your legumes. Okay, so next slide, please. So here are the some combinations that you can try, not just for pairing purposes, okay? But these combinations are classic and they do really taste good, okay? You can pair up with your grains and legumes. So you can try barley and bean soup, rice and beans, bean and lentil pasta. For your nuts and seeds plus legumes, you can try hummus. That's a classic Middle Eastern dip. And then you can also use lentil soup with almonds, snap peas, and sesame seeds. Now you have your grains, plus you can add nuts and seeds. So you have grain and nuts pancakes. You can mix grains and seed plus nut bread. And of course, rice pilaf with nuts and almonds. Next slide, please. So is combining protein and theory in the past. Okay, studies have shown that amino acids can be stored and utilized to make up any limiting amino acid. So as long as we plan our diet, we consume a wide variety of plant protein and food rich in nutrients throughout the day, it doesn't need to be in the same meal. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. This is my reference. Thank you.
All right, that is definitely a protein-packed presentation, Chef Jack. So we are delighted to know that protein can also be sourced from plants. So thank you very much, Chef Jack. I know that all of you now are craving to taste such delicious food that our speakers have shown you because, man, I am too. So have you actually had your breakfast? You can actually grab some foods and drinks while you listen to our next speaker because we are not done yet. But before we proceed to our next speaker, let us first watch a video presentation demonstrated by a culinary mentor at Universidad de Santa Isabel in Naga City, Camarines Sur, and the resident chef at Teocali Cafe to show us how to make an ovo lacto salad of edible flowers. Let's take it from Chef Roy Resurrection. Let's watch this.
Good day. So what we will do now is edible flower salad with rose-infused vinaigrette served with Cosmos cheese. So we're going to prepare all the needed ingredients. So we do have some mixed greens, assorted edible flowers. We have also citrus fruits. So what we're going to do first is we need to infuse rose into olive oil. So we'll just mash the rose petals using a tea press. We're going to put some olive oil, and then that's the time that we need to press it to extract the flavor and the aroma of the rose. Then we will set this aside. Next, we will make a vinaigrette using lemon. We will add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice plus another 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. We will add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, a pinch of salt and pepper, and then we will also add dried herbs and then shake it well. Set this aside for 2 minutes. Then we will prepare the cheese. So we do have here a pepper jack cheese. We'll divide it into 8. We do have some assorted cheese that you can use, such as goat cheese or Emmental cheese. So we do have some assorted Cosmos petal. We're going to trim the petal itself. We need to remove the smallest petal, and then we will coat the cheese like forming a ball. You can roll it using your hand, or you can form a ball. And then you can also use different kinds of edible flowers for coating the cheese. So now we will make a vinaigrette. So we need to remember that 1 part acid and 3 parts oil are the basic vinaigrette. You can also add your favorite flavored vinegar, and then you can also add honey to add a little sweetness, but this one will just add salt and pepper and just a few herbs and spices. Then we will shake it well until you form an emulsion. So the technique that we'll be using, we will just drizzle the vinaigrette on the side of the clean bowl, and then we will add our mixed greens such as goto cola, romaine, iceberg, lolo rosa green. Once we put the greens in the bowl, we will also add our edible flower such as blue ternate, pea flower, kamantige, different types of rose, and a healthy insulin plant flower. So using your hands, we will just toss lightly, and then we will also drizzle or toss the other ingredients in the vinaigrette. So we do have here black olives, julienne bell pepper, cherry tomato. We will also add the fine julienne carrots, pomelo, sliced cucumber, and then quail eggs. So just toss lightly together with our vinaigrette. And then we will also have to split the quail egg. Then we will make an orange supreme. We'll just remove the peel and the outer skin or the rind, and then we will segment it. We need to remove the seed as well. This will add another layer of flavor to our salad. Now we're ready to plate by tossing our edible flower salad in the middle of the plate. Make it sure that there's a height for a better presentation. We will also include other ingredients on top and on the side of the salad just to give more color. We also add the cheese coated with cosmos petal just on the side. And then we will also add the orange supreme. And then lastly, we will top with our remaining edible flower in our salad. I hope you enjoy it and have a pleasant day. God bless and bon appetit.
Wow, that is such a beautiful, deliciously blended salad, Chef Roy. This pandemic has taught us to protect and nurture our health, and I believe eating a really pretty and healthy salad is one way. So I know a lot of our participants are now thinking about adding edible flowers on their salads too. Again, thank you, Chef Roy. Should you have questions to our speakers, please let us know through the Facebook live comment section. Now, for our final speaker, who will let us who will tell us the benefits of edible flowers. He holds a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics and master's degree in health professional education. He is a registered nutritionist and a licensed professional teacher as well. He is a former restaurant manager at Captain's Plate Seafood Restaurant in Batangas. He had served as college instructor at Rose City Colleges, Quezon City, and is currently teaching at Far Eastern University, Manila. My pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Carl Joseph of Lao.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
So,
Sir
thank
Carl.
you very much, Jemima, for that kind introduction. So, a while ago, Chef Roy Resurrection um, just demonstrated how to make edible salad with rose-infused vinaigrette and cosmos cheese. So that was a very wonderful, healthified, edible flour. Okay, that is made up of different flowers. Okay, um, and these flowers can be found also here in the Philippines. So thank you, Chef Roy Resurrection, for that healthified recipe demonstration of edible salad. So in this presentation, I will be presenting you my topic about healthifying through edible flowers and dietary fiber consumption. So for this presentation, next slide. Next slide, please. So for my presentation, I will be talking more about non-nutrient components of your edible flowers in general. So that includes your phytochemicals, your pigments, okay, and that contains your antioxidants. So that's very interesting to know. And also, again, I will also be showcasing you the benefits of consumption of dietary fiber and other components. And this actually dwindles down to your functional foods because we always say that prevention is better than cure, and consumption of these, okay, phytochemicals and pigments from your edible flowers and fruits and vegetables, this prevents us from acquiring diseases, specifically your non-communicable diseases. Okay, so I will not be talking more of the energy building and your carboprotein fats and vitamins and minerals, but I will be delving more on the non-nutrient, okay, components. Okay, so next slide. And fiber is your friend. So, and I just put here the pictures of some examples from the edible salad demonstration of Chef Roy. And these are excellent sources of your dietary fiber and phytonutrients. So examples that was mentioned by Chef Jack, who is also a nutritionist. So your whole grains, your major cereals, okay, your rice, your corn, okay, your wheat, okay, your fruits and vegetables, okay, and also complementary with that is your beans as well, okay. So your sitaw, bataw, patani, so yeah, so that includes your pseudo cereals as well, and that if you complement this, so that will complete, okay, your protein requirement, okay. And the protein requirement from plant-based is actually synonymous to your animal-based proteins, okay, by having these varieties, okay, as part and parcel of your diet. And also showcasing with you some edible flowers such as your blue tarnate, your cosmos, okay, your insulin plant. So ayan, so you can make out of edible salad as well as beverages, okay. So very interesting. So next slide. So your phytochemicals are usually related to plant pigments, and that is made up of fruits and vegetables that are very bright, okay, vibrant in color. So such as your carotenoids, your yellow, orange, and red, your chlorophylls, your greens, your green color, your blue and purple. So that includes your flavonoids. So generally, okay, it contains most phytochemicals and most of the nutrients. Okay, and these are not just food colorants or pigments per se, but these colors have functional or health benefits in terms of the prevention of diseases. Okay, next slide, please. So, as we pronounce it, so phytochemicals, this fight to protect our health, okay, and this also works together with other nutrients that can be found in your fruits and vegetables, okay, and majority of your phytochemicals have anti-inflammatory, okay, properties, anti-cancer, anti-cardiovascular disease, anti-hypertensive, and anti-diabetic properties. Okay? So next slide, please. Also, your phytochemicals have antioxidant properties wherein it can neutralize your free radicals, hence preventing the healthy cells, okay, our healthy cells in the body from damaging because these free radicals can damage your healthy cells again. So if we are under oxidative stress during this pandemic, So our brain generates more free radicals because it uses much more oxygen, which is the fattest organ of the body, okay? And exposure to free radicals, okay, promotes oxidation, okay? And you can also acquire it from cigarette smoke, air pollution, toxic chemicals in the air, okay, and water. Okay? So, di ba nga pag nagluluto tayo, when we heat it, for example, the oil, when we heat it up at high temperature, so what happens? So, in contact with heat as well as with the atmosphere, with the oxygen, so it gets easily oxidized. Same as with our body as well. So, presence of free radicals, okay, due to stress, okay, so that predisposes us to oxidative stress, and these are actually linked to diseases that I've mentioned a while ago, okay? So next slide, please. So the role of antioxidants from your plant pigments are essential because they serve as a scavenger, okay? In order to reduce the formation of your free radicals, and instead of oxidizing your healthy cells, okay, your antioxidants will donate electrons. As you can see on the figure, okay, it will donate electrons, okay, and to the free radicals, and this becomes non-toxic, okay? So as you can see, your free radicals donate, okay? I mean your antioxidants donate, okay, electrons in order to neutralize, in order not to harm, okay, your healthy cells, okay? Next slide, please. And I will be talking more of in nutritional biochemistry here. So in layman's term, so during your enterohepatic circulation, so enterohepatic, so liver, so our liver produces bile that is made up of cholesterol. Okay, your bile is made up of cholesterol, and our liver, okay, produces endogenous cholesterol in the body. So even if you not obtain it from the diet, okay, our liver produces bile in order to emulsify fat during digestion. But with the presence of dietary fiber in the diet, okay, such as your fruits and vegetables, your edible flours, your beans, etc. So your dietary fiber has the ability to bind, okay, your cholesterol, and prevents the reabsorption of your bile or your cholesterol, okay, in the liver, and hence your dietary fiber reduces, okay, the cholesterol levels in the body, so that you will not have elevated lipid profile when you have your lipid profile test, okay, in the laboratory. So for patients who have high cholesterol levels, okay, hypercholesterolemia, so we advise them to incorporate dietary fiber as part and parcel of their diet. Okay. Also, next slide. This is also very interesting that during the fermentation of your dietary fiber in your large intestine, so it is being converted to short chain fatty acid, okay, or SCFA, okay. Your short chain fatty acid is actually produces three components, okay. We have acetate and propionate, as well as butyrate. For the acetate and propionate, so these byproducts, okay, by the live microorganisms in the colon, okay, so this short chain fatty acids prevents us from acquiring cardiovascular diseases, according to research. And your butyrate forming is associated with this decreased risk of having cancer. So yan. So ang daming benefits, okay? So anti anti-cardiovascular diseases, as well as anti-cancer, okay, properties. So next slide, please. Also, another benefit that we can obtain from the consumption of dietary fiber is your prebiotic, and these are your non-digestible. Again, this is naturally occurring to fruits and vegetables, and your prebiotic are your fibers, okay? And this prebiotic serves as a food for your probiotic, okay, which is your good bacteria. Next slide. Okay, so your live bacteria, that is your good bacteria, okay, in order to protect our immune system, okay? So therefore, when we incorporate the dietary fiber in our diet, so we actually want to proliferate this good bacteria in our gut. For our next slide, please. So as you can see, the symbiotic relationship of your probiotic and your prebiotic, okay? Fiber, prebiotic, and then your probiotic, okay? That they consume, okay? Those prebiotic in order to grow, and that protects again our body from diseases, okay? And especially our immune system, okay? So next slide, please. In terms of blood glucose response, okay, as you can see, the green on the graph, so the green line, so that indicates no dietary fiber. So as you can see, so it abruptly increases your blood sugar levels without the presence of dietary fiber. But with the presence of dietary fiber, so it gradually releases the glucose for absorption. Hence, it will not spike your blood sugar levels, most especially for diabetics. So again, so for patients, if to patients who are diabetic, again, we actually advise them, okay, to take again dietary fiber as part, okay, mandatory yon, as part of their diet. Okay, this is not just for only for people who have diseases, okay, non-communicable diseases, but also we also advise, okay, the general population to incorporate them, okay, as this data, to incorporate dietary fiber in on their regular diet. Okay, so next slide. I would like to conclude this presentation by showing you this Pinggang Pinoy from the Department of Science and Technology, Food and Nutrition Research Institute. Okay, so to conclude this presentation by showing you this Pinggang Pinoy. So this is our usual diet. Okay, so as you can see, di nga half 3/4 of our diet composed of dietary fiber. So that you can obtain from your cereals, from your fruits and vegetables. Okay, so this is a very important reminder for us, okay, that we should incorporate dietary fiber in our regular diet. So it's not just give color on our plate, but also it gives us a lot of benefits, okay? The benefits that I've mentioned a while ago, okay? To maintain a healthy, okay, body, okay? So together with healthy diet, okay, we actually also have, we actually combine it with physical activity as well, okay? So diet plus physical activity will give us what? Good nutrition, okay? So a healthy lifestyle, okay? So for my next slide, so here are my references, okay? Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned something.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abla, for that beneficial presentation. Indeed, in this time of pandemic, we should all make it to a point that what we eat is not just healthy and nutritious, but also sustainable, right, Chef Ken?
You are certainly correct, Miss Jam. Okay, right now, Miss Jam, I would like to, before we go to the question and answer, please, we encourage all the participants to send us your questions, queries, or suggestions via comment section right down below. So before anything else, Miss Jam, let us acknowledge the schools all over the Philippines who have joined us and registered for today's webinar. Shall we? So let me begin.
Yes, of course.
By thanking and acknowledging Arellano University, Baliwag National University, Bulacan State University Main Campus and Bustos Campus, the Bulso Meneses Campus, Camarines Norte Colleges, Capiz State University, Center for Culinary Arts, Cebu Technological University, Malabuyok Extension, Cavite State University, thank you so much. Colegio de San Gabriel Arcangel, College of the Immaculate Conception, thank you. Cotabato State University, First City Provincial College, Fort Magsaysay National High School, and Ifugao State University, ILEAD, Immaculate Conception and Arts. We also have the Isabel Pascual, IceCam, thank you so much. Miss Jam.
Wow, thank you so much. Also, registrants from Jose Rizal University, La Consolacion College, Mindoro State University, Bunagong Campus, UDLB, National University, both Baliwag and Bulacan Campus, Negros Oriental State University, Pangasinan State University, Perpetual Health College of Manila, PhilCST, Philippine Women's University, of course, Philippine College and Science Technology, Ritual College, St. Cecilia's College, San Juan de Dios Educational Foundation, Inc., Santa Isabel College of Manila, SKD Academy, QC, Surigao State College of Technology, Tagudin National High School, Technological University of the Philippines, Manila, University of Northern Philippines, University of Science and Technology, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Urban University, Western Philippines University, main campus, and I guess that would be all, Chef Ken.
Yes, Miss Jem. All right, thank you so much for more than 200 participants watching us right now via Facebook Live. So I think we are ready for the next part of our program. Before that, again, I'm encouraging everyone to fill out the evaluation form at the end of the webinar. So right now we have here our questions. So let's begin with the question and answer. Let us begin.
All right, so we have questions sent through the comment section of Facebook, through our Facebook Live, and these questions are directly for Chef Jerry Cochula. Chef Jack, are you there?
Hi, good morning.
All right, so I have two questions for you. So first question is, hi Chef Jack, so what are the benefits of having a plant-based diet? So this question came from Wilford Ellarma. And another question is, hi Chef, can we get arthritis from plant-based diet? From John Angelo Husayan.
Okay, for the first question, if you're eating your food coming from the animal source, that has a lot of saturated fat and unhealthy fats, okay? And then if you're going to convert, or if you want to eat a plant-based diet, so a plant would consist of high fiber, complex carbohydrates, and low in saturated fat. So meaning, you can get lower risk of getting heart disease, diabetes, obesity, And plant also has high in antioxidants. Okay, so that would repair your stressed cells. So it would lessen or lower risk of getting a cancer. Okay, so that's basically the benefits of having a plant-based diet. Okay, and for the second question about arthritis, I think that's a common myth in the Philippines. Na if you eat certain nuts or certain seeds or beans, you'll get gout or arthritis. Contrary to that belief, if you go to your doctor, sasabihin niya sa'yo, you need to change to a better diet or a plant-based diet because mas mataas ang purine levels. For example, ng mga canned sardines, like chicken, your meat, compared to the beans, nuts, and seeds. Okay, so you won't get arthritis if you just eat the proper weight. Okay, so if you overeat, so more or less, there's a possibility you'll get arthritis. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jack, for that answer. Now let's have Chef Jean. Are you with us, Chef Jean? Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Chef Jean, hello. This question is from Brain Gaudia. So sabi niya, hi Chef Jean, what are the reasons you've been seeing more vegan product in grocery right now?
Okay, so thank you, Sir Brian. Okay, so yung like what I said, I mentioned earlier, um, nasa market na siya nga, no? Nasa grocery shelves siya. So, one factor is the pandemic, no? The pandemic has changed the way people interact with the food. Nag-i-incorporate na tayo ng plant-based meal sa ating halos pang araw-araw na meals because ang hinahabol natin yung ating magkaroon tayo ng strong immune system. Okay, another reason is yung sinabi natin na pagdating sa ethical, like for example, yung against animal cruelties, and andun din yung compassion natin na kumakain tayo pero nakakatulong tayo for say sustainability and of course yung to save our planet. Thank you.
Yay, thank you for that. May isa pang question for you, Miss Jean, Chef Jean.
Yes, sir.
Aside from using bread flour daw as meat alternatives, what other plant-based ingredients can you use to produce a sausage daw from meat sa kalubang?
Okay, thank you, Miss Kalubang. Dun sa ating video, I use bread flour, no? Para siyang binder and of course, siya na yung support, yung co-crops natin. Pwede tayong gumamit din ng other crops. So, pwede rin tayong gumamit ng mga grains. Like for example, pwede tayong gumamit ng mga corn, cereals. So, pwede siyang processed, pwede siyang raw. Okay? And basta nandun lang din po yung mismong rich in protein na mga vegetables para maging kompleto yung ating plant-based meat alternative products. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Chef Jean, is there already available plant-based products in the market already right now? Can
Yes
we
po.
find it in the grocery?
Yes po, sir. Marami na po.
Okay po. Thank you so
Iba-ibang
much.
manufacturers na po yung nagpo-produce
Meron na.
local.
So, are you planning to make your products available in the grocery in the future?
Why not po? Kung maganda ang feedback sa video natin, di ba? Makakatulong pa tayo. Okay po. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know a lot of the viewers right now are so excited to taste that longanisa, the vegan longanisa. It looks delicious, you know.
Thank you po.
Miss
Yes,
Jam, is there any more
many
questions?
are asking. Many are actually asking for the recipe. Chef Jean, kailan mo ipopost? Can they find your recipe din daw ba sa YouTube and all? Can you give more details about that?
Sige po. So, meron po tayong YouTube channel, yung ating pong tinatawag na Pink Recipes. So, meron na po tayo dun ilang plant-based recipes na nakapost. So, after po siguro ng event, maya-mayang konti. So, pwede na natin siyang i-share.
Ayan. All right. So just look up sa YouTube, pink recipes. Tama po ba, Chef Dean? All right. Thank you very much. So
Yes,
for
ma'am.
another question, all right. Thank you po. Another question po naman po for Sir Carl. Sir Carl, are you there?
Hello, I'm
All
still
right.
here.
Yeah, Sir Carl. Hi, Sir Carl. I have two questions for you. Okay. From Ilya this question is one the endemic fruits and vegetables high in our value would recommend time of pandemic.
Hello, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear it properly.
Okay, it's okay. So this question came from Mr. EJ Villaflor, and his question is, what among the endemic Philippine fruits and vegetables high in ORAC value would you recommend in this time of pandemic?
OARC? Did I hear it right?
Yes, Sir Car.
Okay. So, in terms of endemic fruits and vegetables available locally, okay, here in the Philippines, I suppose this we can obtain it from the provinces because um, these are not very popular or available in our supermarket or grocery stores, but these are actually available in a certain locale um, that can be found let's say for example in Central Luzon. So they have this particular fruit that is local there. Okay, so but then in terms of figuring out these fruits and vegetables, we still need to do some again research, okay, pertaining to that in terms of how we analyze, okay, the bioactive compounds of these local fruits and vegetables. Marami kasing unresearched, let's say for example, yung mga halaman, okay? So merong endemic fruits and vegetables posted at DOH, okay? Actually top 10 yon, okay? That can be found locally here in the Philippines, but also there are also some plants are that are actually what we call this unresearched or hindi pa na-analyze in terms of their benefits. Okay? Okay? Did I answer your question, EJ?
Yes po. I think
All right.
we can, yes, Miss Jem, I think we can ask Chef Roy, no, since he made the video about the edible
Yes.
flower a while ago, no. Can stay tuned, stay there, Sir Carl, no. Chef Roy, are you still with us? Chef Roy, we want to ask the same question to you. Do we still have Chef Roy? I think no. Maybe we can ask Chef Roy about other edible flowers that he's using in his salad aside from those flowers na the ternity, yung mga ganong mga flowers na ginagamit niya.
Okay. So
Tama po.
just to answer the
Ayan,
question.
hi Chef Roy,
Okay,
welcome
so
back.
now we actually
Hello. Just to answer the question regarding for edible flower, the rule of thumb, especially this one, is already practiced in the permaculture system. Permaculture is an agriculture system here in the Philippines and also international that means that we utilize other sabi nga kanina ni Sir Carl unexplored uh, source of food such of edible plants, or I mean edible vegetable. For example, if the flower of calabasa, because calabasa is edible, the fruit of calabasa is edible, definitely the flower of calabasa you can also use as like if you're include that in your pinakbet, especially in Ilocos. There are also some, sabi nga kanina ni Sir Carl, there are also some vegetables that are found especially in different locale, which you cannot found in other provinces. Okay, for example, if you're using like orchids, generally orchids, uh, if you're not using any
Oh.
chemicals, if you're not using
Oops.
All right, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Chef Roy right
Yes,
now.
Miss Jem. I think what Chef Roy is telling us is that as long as all the edible flowers that we can find, as long as that we are not using pesticides or chemicals on the flower, we can use that. Yun yata yung gusto niya sabihin. Kasi there is a follow-up question here. Sir Carl, no? Sabi, is there other edible flowers, no? Practicality. Kasi daw the other edible flowers are for higher class market. So, is there any other edible flower that they can alternate? They can use as alternative as a source of nutrients, no? Yung bulaklak ba ng katuray? Sir Carl, what is the nutrient content aside from the masarap yung bulaklak ng katuray? Ano? What can you say about that? What's your thought on that? This is from me, I don't know, Mr. or Mrs. Gaudia, Brian? Other alternatives.
Okay, in terms of alternatives, so maghanap kayo dyan sa gardening nyo. Maraming pwedeng gawing alternatives. Okay? As I have mentioned a while ago, ayun nga, yung katuray, so you can actually incorporate that, okay, in your, as a garnish or as a part of salad. So in terms of, again, to answer the question in terms of benefits, okay, maraming benefits tayong pwedeng makuha, okay, sa halaman, okay? Not just only for edible flowers but also for greens, okay? Mataas itong mga edible salads na to sa carotenoids, okay? Also mataas sa anthocyanins, anthocyanins, okay? And these compounds, bioactive compounds that you can found in those edible salads has, again, as I've mentioned a while ago, has beneficial effects on the body. Okay? But just to interject a while ago, so dun nga sa endemic, maraming pwede siyang gawing research agenda, okay? If if your research interest is gearing towards characterization, pwede nyong i-explore yung physicochemical characterization of those endemic, okay, plants available here locally in the Philippines, in terms also of its safety assessment for consumption. Ayan, okay? So doon na papasok yung food toxicology, okay? So, but again, marami tayong pwedeng gawin, okay, in terms of how we actually establish consumption of edible salads here, okay, in the Philippines, okay, most especially for endemic.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Carl, Chef Jean, Sir Roy, Chef Roy. So now let us proceed in awarding the certificate of participation, right, Miss Jam? So once you finish submitting the evaluation for today's webinar, you will automatically be receiving 2 e-certificates with session titles, plant-based meat alternatives, market trend opportunities, and benefits and function properties of edible flowers. So yeah, let me read the citation. So Philippine Women's University Graduate School, School of Hospitality Management present this certificate of attendance for attending the webinar entitled Expanding Gastronomic Possibilities with Plant-Based Meals, given this 19th day of June 2021 at a Philippine Women's University, Taft Avenue, Manila. Signed, Dr. Ephraimuel Jose L, Abellana, Dean, School of Hospitality Management, and Dr. Angelina U, Blanco, Professor, Graduate School of Hospitality Management. So you will be receiving 2 e-certificate right after you submit the evaluation form, which you can scan the QR code and to evaluate po. All right, Ms. Jam?
Thank you very much. That knowledge, maybe we are very supportive at Philippines University School of Hospitality Management, Dr. Angelina Blanco. Angie?
A pleasant good morning to everyone. President Marco Benitez, Dr. Sarnosa, Dean Prime Abellana, school officials, speakers, students, and guests, a pleasant good morning. We would like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. Very successful webinar, very fruitful. And just to synthesize everything that we have discussed, we met all the objectives we had at the start. And we'd like to thank our very own Chef Angel Apun, our Filipino New Zealand Chef of the Year for 2021, who truly shared her expertise and time in discussing the shattering stereotype in Filipino cuisine with the power of plants. And she said the global interest in Filipino cuisine is on the rise, and it was the original fusion of the world. And Filipino food is the next big thing in the foodie world. She also spoke about revolutionizing the Filipino cuisine and veganizing classic Filipino meat dishes and power of plants, transforming them with the power of plants. She also emphasized vegan Filipino food. She said the work in our hands is into ethical, healthy eating, sustainability, and renewability. The Filipino food advocacy, like championing Filipino culture through gastronomy. So in the end, she said we should switch to a plant-based lifestyle. And we should make that change. And that change starts with you, starts with us. So starts with our own plate. So thank you, Chef Angel, for really inspiring us this morning. We are truly proud to have a very inspiring Filipino in New Zealand representing the Filipino cuisine. So thank you, Chef Angel. We'd also like to thank Chef Jean Semiliano, one of our students, who discussed plant-based meat alternatives, market trends, and opportunities. She discussed the protein sources and plant-based products. She said today's market are shaped by the key consumers, which includes changing diet, nutrition, plant-based, protein-wide for range for the consumers, and increase in active lifestyle of the consumers. And thank you for demonstrating a meatless langgonisa. Very unique. And she also showed us costings, no? So we can see that going meatless, going plant-based is truly cheaper with 3.03 per piece as against the meat, which was 8.89. So thank you for the sharing and for the demonstration. Next, we had Chef Jericho Chua, who discussed complementary protein, how to get complete proteins from plants, because the original was proteins usually came from meat. So he said that plant-based proteins come from soy, legumes, grains, nuts, and seeds. And through complementary pairing, we can combine this grains and legumes, nuts, seeds, and legumes, and grains and nuts and seeds into creative meals to get the complete proteins from the plants. So thank you, Chef Jack. Then we had the demonstration of Chef Roy Resurrection with the edible flower salad. So I see that many were interested in the salad. And if we can also have the recipe posted. Thank you, Chef Roy. And last but not least is Chef Carl Abla, who spoke on the healthifying through edible flowers and dietary fiber consumption. So here he said that fiber is our friend. Whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, beans. And he spoke about phytochemicals and antioxidants, prebiotics, and probiotics. Yung probiotics, naririnig ko lang yan sa Yakult, di ba? So live bacteria and yeast, good for the digestive system. So that's coming from our nutritionists, no? They're all certified, registered nutritionists, our speakers. And he ended with the pinggang Pinoy, no? Which is 1/2 fruits and vegetables, that's your plants. Should be 1/4 protein and 1/4 rice. That's the ideal pinggang Pinoy. But you know, ang pinggang Pinoy ngayon halos 3/4 rice. So we should really do a lifestyle change. So thank you to the speakers and thank you to the schools, the participants. We had more than 600 participants attending. Congratulations to the organizers of this webinar headed by Chef Nikki Ellarma. Let's give him a big hand. Chef Roy for the demo and also for Chef for the demonstration, Chef Jean. Our MCs, of course, Chef Jemima and Chef Ken. Job well done, everybody. So also to our IT, to Miss Maha and Sir Vlad. And last but not least, to God for giving us a very good Wi-Fi and internet connection this morning, seamless. So to everyone, indeed, we learned so many things today. And thank you. And mabuhay ang Filipino plant-based meals. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Blanco, for all the support and guidance to us in making this webinar possible. So once again, may I ask for the evaluation QR code so that our participants can now screenshot it. Please do a screenshot of the evaluation QR code. And also the evaluation link has been posted on the comment section of today's webinar. So you can see it there. The link is right there and the QR code is right here on the screen right now. If you are using cell phone, do a screenshot and scan it later on for the evaluation and the 2E certificate to be given to you later on. Okay, so before we end, we would like to thank our source speaker again, Miss Angel Apun. We would like also to thank PWU Media Center for the live broadcast in the Facebook, PWU ICT Department, PWU community, to you, our dear participants, and to all those who made this event possible. Thank you so much. Congratulations to our classmates for a job well done. Chef Nikki, Chef Jean, Chef Jack, Chef Roy, Sir Carl, and of course to you, Miss Jem. Congratulations.
And to you also, Sir Ken, congratulations, of course, to the University President, Mr. Marco Alfredo M. Benitez, Graduate School Director, Dr. Emerita Zarnosa, Dean of School of Hospitality Management, Dr. Ephraimuel Jose L. Abellana, Dr. Jocelyn Sardenia, Dr. Angelina U. Blanco, Mama Lourdes Cabatuando, Dr. Menchita Dumlao, Mr. Vladimir Villamor, and Ma'am Jennifer Dalimocon Viruela. Thank you so much. And of course, to our viewers, thank you very much. We hope that you learned a lot through this webinar, and may you join us in supporting and expanding gastronomic possibilities with plant-based meals. To all the committees who made this possible, thank you for the endless support. I'm glad and sad to say that this ends our webinar brought to you by MSCA Advanced Culinary Arts 2021 class. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.